Welcome
force is
to
made of
Friday.
ghosts.
Fuck. Welcome to Friday Night Party Line for March 31st, 2017. I'm going to cut this one off right at the pass. No, there will be no April 1st shenanigans. We do not do that. It's dickery, and we shall not engage in that.
Ha,
Every
April
other kind
Fools,
of dickery.
there was.
Every other
Yes,
kind
you-
of dickery, however, we regularly engage in.
That reminds me,
Starting-
there's Pac-Man on Google Maps today. You should check it out.
Is that
Yeah,
so?
you may have noticed that I normally say something weird at the start of every show anyway, so that's not
Yeah.
an April Fool's thing.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of the king of dickery, Hickory Dickory Doo himself, it's Churba. Hey, Churbs.
I prefer the title, the head knight of the Order of the Penis.
The head knight.
Hey, what can I say? When you've got skills, you've got to advertise. The fuck is that?
Who's playing Pac-Man? Or rather, who's playing Google Maps? It's
Probably
George.
George.
How do you?
I know it's George.
You gotta swipe? What? This is some bullshit.
Itchy nose, what the hell?
Jesus, George, you are way hot right now. I don't know what's going on. Like super loud. Super.
Well, it's because my microphone has two sides to it, and there's my phone.
I think your phone is reflecting your voice into your mic. Anywho, we've got, in addition to George, who we've already said is here, we got Nelson. Hey, Nelson.
Hello.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
You wearing some kind of graphic tee over
Graphical t-shirt? Oh yes,
Yeah, what's
I
up
do
with that?
believe it's the Feminist Gaming Illuminati t-shirt.
there. Aha. Okay.
Oh, that's a good T-shirt.
It's a good shirt.
Whenever
good
I go to PAX and I'm walking around, trying to find a game or something, and I see someone with this shirt, I'm like, that is a good person. I can approach them and hang out with them, and they will, be able to converse without any garbage,
That is
gamer
a
business.
that is a good filter. I should get
a
one of
good
those
test.
shirts.
It's a good shirt.
Yeah.
We had a guy.
Chris is
at-
giving me eyebrows. It's the Feminist Gaming Illuminati shirt.
We had a
one-
guy at PAX.
It's good
before
that you don't know
last
about that.
Who rolled up to one of my panels wearing a Oregon Trail shirt, and it's like Oregon Trail with the wagon and the little dead guy and such, except it says "You have died of ethics in gaming journalism."
There was one
I
point.
actually had an awkward conversation with the guy, trying to sound out if he was pro Gamergate or against Gamergate, because they couldn't tell which one that the shirt was meant to be for. So I kind of rolled over. I'm like, "Hey, bro, what's going on?"
One time, I was hanging out with friend of the show Mike at PAX, and we were at the hotel.
I hear it
And-
got cancelled.
We were chatting. I was in the bathroom, changing out of my enforcer shirt, and we were chatting about something, and it got to the topic of shirts, and he was like, "Oh yeah, and I brought my Feminist Gaming Illuminati shirt, and I walk out of the bathroom, and he's wearing it, and I look down, and I am also wearing it."
The Illuminati runs deep.
You know what this means? Collusion.
Obviously.
Obviously. So we got some topics today, and I'm gonna
shit.
start with a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna start with a little bit of a softball for Churba. Churba, are you aware of the recent Uber shenanigans?
I'm just blown away that we actually plan these things before we do them.
Yeah, I know. You never read the topics, so zounds. Yeah.
I actually do. It's just that now I'm scrolling back to see what the next topic is, and I have to scroll back past fucking 45,000 pictures of my dog.
And George's fa and or foe.
Actually, both are wrong.
What
It's
is
fa,
it?
I
What is
wasn't
it?
going to say it.
fa
Yeah.
with a rising intonation.
It's,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's fa.
Yes.
Okay, so it's fa.
No.
No. It's
You-
Fa?
Fa?
Yes.
You're Californian. How can you not
So it's
get
fine.
a rising intonation?
No. Yeah, it's,
Because I've never heard it pronounced by anyone who seems to be
Like, really?
able to speak on it with authority.
You know what? I've had it a lot of times, and I've never heard it spoken by the waiter or waitress. I have no idea.
Maybe
how
they
you're
don't
supposed-
know. Maybe nobody knows.
My boss, when I do sound gigs, is a Vietnamese guy, and like
Yeah.
that is one of the things we do. Is after a show, we'll go out for beers and pho,
Okay, so it's
and I
pho.
always say beers and pho to annoy him.
Okay. Will we ever find out how it's pronounced?
It's pho.
Probably.
for white guys, probably not.
Yeah, we don't know. He did also send me home with a jar of fish sauce once,
Mm.
No, but that's high quality. Got to
But it
get some
wasn't
good
like-
fish sauce.
but it wasn't like a jar of fish sauce like from the supermarket. It was like a jam jar
So
that he had-
homemade fish
that he had poured
sauce.
some fish sauce in. I didn't
We
have
had-
the heart to tell him that like I despise fish sauce.
We had to buy fish sauce for this last night, and we were sort of looking around at. They have like a whole wall of fish sauce at the
my.
H Mart, and we're like looking at this, going, "What? Which one do we buy?"
I
We
just-
no idea. We ended up buying the one that was on sale.
So welcome to Acceptable Vices.
they
Tonight,
limited-
food.
Welcome
They
to
limited it
acceptable fish sauce.
Let's buy this because we're limited to 3. This clearly is good.
So apparently my softball was Victor mispronouncing Vietnamese food words.
I don't know,
Sounds
Turbo. I thought
about
I'd give you news about Uber and just let you run with it because we all know how much you adore Uber.
I have mixed feelings about Uber. Like, good on them for trying something new and interesting where the old system actually really did have some significant problems. Not good on them for literally everything else.
So the news of which I literally handed Churba on a silver platter, on a figurative silver platter. I literally handed it to him on a figurative silver platter, was that Uber's president quit Uber because, and I quote, I joined Uber because of its mission and the challenge to build global capabilities that would help the company mature and thrive long term. It is now clear, however, that the beliefs and approach to leadership that have guided my career are inconsistent with what I saw and experienced at Uber, and I can no longer continue as president of the ride-sharing business. Shit's fucked up.
Ding! Oh, what was that sound? That was my corporate speak to real people translator. I was okay with this until it became a PR issue. Because it's not like these are new. Uber has been this way from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Uber has this weird thing where they go, okay, yeah, we're making a diversity push, and they'll hire like a shit ton of, say, a shit ton of women
That's
engineers.
a new one. A shit ton of blah, 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 blah.
Hey, there's infinite genders. Leave it off. But but they hired like a huge amount of women, so that their workforce jumps up to like 25% women.
Mm-hmm.
And then a year later, their workforce has dwindled back down to 3% women because of endemic and systemic sexism, sexual harassment issues, all sorts of shit like that. And then like another year after that, we're having a big diversity push, guys. We're hiring a bunch of women. Like,
Play it again,
Yes.
Sam.
Susan Fowler came out a while back, which kicked off Uber's very, very bad, no good, horrible month that they're having. Which basically said, hey, this is what it was like with my year at Uber, but what that doesn't convey is that that's also like not the first time that that exact situation has happened at Uber. That has been happening on a fucking cycle.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that she's the first one to step up and speak out about it and get noticed in a widespread kind of way.
Bad
Also,
news
I'm
about
pretty
Uber has been pretty prevalent for the last 3 years.
Yup.
How old is Uber?
Don't actually know.
Did you
I
guys
feel
see
like-
the Uber car that crashed?
Oh yeah, the driver, well, not driverless, but
Driver
autonomous one.
accompanied.
Um,
They're 8 years old.
oh,
Uber's
okay.
8 years old.
It just sort of fell over on its side. It was really sad.
Well, you see, the front fell off.
Is that common?
I'm not
Shouldn't
saying
be.
it's not uncommon.
Well, aren't they normally designed so the front doesn't fall off?
Well, yes, but this one clearly wasn't.
What are you, some kind of like car expert? Do you do panels about cars or something at cons?
Okay. Aside from
Yes?
aside from Uber's car being flipped outside of the environment,
Yes.
the president isn't even the first executive level person at Uber to leave. He's just the first one to do it willingly in disagreement with Uber's policies.
Mm-hmm.
In disagreement.
Like they already lost like almost half their senior executives due to, like, for example, one like basically just didn't disclose that he left his previous employer because of extremely credible sexual harassment allegations. Another one left basically before he was thrown out for sexual harassment. There were a couple of others that were all fucking dismissed for very similar reasons, like various types of harassment and other shitty behavior. They're in the middle of a fucking giant lawsuit with Google about self-driving cars that keeps getting worse and worse for them.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
Like,
Well, that's
to the
because
point-
they're
Go on.
lawyers in AI.
Yes, they've got a self-lawyering courtroom. But, yeah, they're having some issues with that because it turns out that it's getting basically more and more sure by the day that the guy that they aggressively hired away from Google pretty much stole a bunch of stuff from Google about their self-driving car program, which then mysteriously turned up in the Uber self-driving car program, which went from 0 to 100 in a real hurry.
Yeah, I can't imagine how that could have gone poorly for them.
Yeah.
And that's just getting worse and worse. The whole thing's just a fucking mess. Uber's a shithole.
Yep.
Oh, let's see. What was another thing that came up recently? They've been like forcing drivers to listen to anti-union podcasts. After
Wait,
a couple of different
what?
states won the right to have Uber drivers unionize.
Wait, how do you force them to listen to that? I've never taken an Uber. Does like their music playing happen within like
No.
the Uber app or something?
I think it's a pre-roll thing when they go to log in to get paid or something like that. It's in the system somehow.
Yeah, I can't remember whether it's before you drive or before you get paid for driving, but you have to go and listen. I'm pretty sure it's before you get paid for driving.
Mm-hmm.
You have to listen to these fucking podcasts. Well, podcasts. They're not actually broadcast anywhere or like we are or anything like that.
Right.
But
Wait, we're
same
broadcast
format,
somewhere?
basically. Yes,
I
on
was
the
just
interwebs.
chatting with my friends.
On the interwebs.
But basically, those you had to listen all the way through them before it would actually let you get to the pay me interface.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's all pretty fucked up. And this is on top of things like their past controversies about background checks, about paying off some of the shadier sections of the tech press to essentially libel fucking the entire city of Austin.
Their war with Lyft.
Oh yeah. Not to mention their corporate sabotage of basically any competitor that comes along in one of their markets.
Oh, and
I
then there
kinda
was
wanna
the
try
thing where they were
driving for Uber
using,
just to
and
see what it's like.
and then there was the thing where they were using, manipulating the data of the little dots of drivers on their map to throw off government officials
Oh, yeah.
and police from, finding them.
Oh yeah, the grey ball program
The
where
gray
like,
ball, yeah.
as they would go and specifically investigate and find out which phones were tied to police departments in areas where they were operating illegally, and purposefully gave those user clients fucking false information so that they couldn't get an Uber and that they couldn't like track drivers or anything else through the interface.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly,
Yeah.
the activities of an upstanding business organization.
Oh, and one final really weird one. Their CEO Travis also used to tell this weird lie about being ranked #1 in the world in Wii tennis. Wii Sports tennis.
That is a very weird thing to want to, lie about.
Yeah, especially because Wii Sports tennis has a maximum score, and there's like thousands, if not tens of thousands, of people who have specifically gone on and registered their high score as that maximum on various like record keeping sites and things like that. It's like, what the fuck, dude? You're not #1. You're one of a million. Also, Wii tennis was pretty easy to get to that max score, so.
I prefer the ping pong on Wii Sports Resort. I think that's more fun. It's good.
Nah, man, fucking Rockstar table tennis.
Rockstar.
That was my jam.
Wait, what is that?
Rockstar made a table tennis game, and it was really fucking good.
Did they?
Yeah.
They should put that in Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, they should have, instead of that shitty tennis minigame that nobody plays because it's garbage.
We tried it. You and I tried it once, and it just kept
so
going.
Bad. Yeah, it goes on like way beyond the point where anyone actually wants to play it.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, let's see here. Next up on the docket, North Carolina rescinds its the controversial bathroom bill because the NCAA set a deadline for them, and they're attempting to appease them, but in reality, they don't really do anything about it. It hasn't really done anything at all. Under the new law, the transgender people are once again free to use the bathroom of their choice, but there's actually nothing they can do if a person or a business or a state, and this is important, a state entity decides to eject or harass them, eject them from the bathroom or harass them in their use of it. And it also, and here's the fun part, it denies LGBT people state and legal protection in terms of employment and housing. So,
what's that got to do with bathrooms, though?
That would assume that this had anything to do with bathrooms in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
According, Mara Kiesling, who's the director of the Washington-based National Center for Transgender Equality, said, "Wow, what was that?" Well, she might have said that too at one point, but what she said in regard to this was, quote, "This is the end of HB2, House Bill 2. In name only, the bill that was passed today is a disgrace, not a fix, a reset, or a compromise, and certainly not a repeal."
Yeah.
So, do you guys think the NCAA is going to buy this?
Well, no one is.
No.
But it brings up an interesting kind of moral dilemma that I've been thinking about for a while. So there's two ideas. One is the Prime Directive, which is don't interfere with other cultures and their own journey towards enlightenment or whatever. And the other idea is like progressive cultural imperialism. Like, we should impose our values when they are more, this is hugely problematic and more correct,
quote unquote,
as much as we can tell that. Because, like, on one hand, the people in red states have voted consistently for, since the beginning, to do really, really shitty things to people in their own states.
Yeah.
And, what right do we, who don't live there, what right do we have to impose our values, even if those values are perhaps better or, more based in reality or, all these other things. On the other hand, a lot of the oppressed people in these different polities don't get the right to vote or are suppressed from voting.
Right.
So, maybe the will of the people is not as much of an argument in that case.
All right. Well, let me say this, okay? let me talk about this in conservative, typically Republican speak. Okay? The states absolutely should have the right to determine the laws of their land because the state knows what's best for the state. At the same time, the free hand, the invisible hand of free market capitalism says that the NCAA and any other major organization absolutely has the right to threaten to pull out of a state if the regulations in there don't mesh with what they want. And they should. And if the state decides to change because of it, well, that's just the invisible hand of the market doing its work.
Yeah, funny how these chappies don't seem to understand that the invisible hand of the free market is not meant to just cup their balls gently. Sometimes it's going to squeeze.
Yes.
And let's hope it does until they pop like fucking grapes. No, you gotta laugh.
There you go. See, that's a much better. That's a much better one. Probably a little in there as well.
So I read
Hey, perfect.
I read an interesting take the other day that was basically a what is it called? The Jonathan Swift. What was it called?
I don't know.
Where you're supposed to eat the babies. A modest proposal, yeah. So it was sort of a modest proposal for blue states and local governments
All
to
right.
basically stop giving like federal money to these other states. Basically, like use as push back as much as possible against the federal government and say, you know what, you want states' rights? Okay, we're not going to give you any money. We will instead reinvest that money into our local, state and local governments to basically do all of the things that we think the government should do. Universal health care, free public transportation, all this wonderful stuff. And just like wait 10 years for, the states that don't invest that to basically, crumble because they red also are more what's the word they like to use? They're moochers.
Welfare queens.
Welfare queens, yeah.
That's the one.
And it's an interesting argument because
Mooches.
why should New York City give so many millions of dollars to red states that are doing their thing when we could really use that money here to improve the lives of our like poor people and and it's
That's the
interesting.
thing.
We could do so much better, so much more good in the metropolitan area if we didn't send all of our tax dollars to those mooching red states.
Right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand,
Flyover states.
if we don't
Stupid flyover
if we
states.
don't keep trying to improve those states, even against the will of the people living there, people will die and have really horrible lives, and the oppressed people that are forced to live in these places will have even shittier lives.
Yep.
Oh. It's almost as if it's almost as if the states aren't just islands in the middle of a land sea, and that they actually have some sort of connection to the other states.
Well punctuated.
You guys debate the global revolution. I'm gonna get some food. One sec.
Oh, okay.
You know what? I think that we should start a drag act.
Uh-huh.
All of the proceeds go to charities to, say, help the homeless and unemployed and so on and so forth. And we could call it the Welfare Queens. Come on, it'd be good. I look good in a skirt. You
I'll
probably
have to
would.
lose some weight.
Nah.
Not that much.
I am troubled by this trend in America where the red states don't want the federal government to do anything, and they don't want our help, and they want us to go away. And they feel like they're better than us because they have more land. And
George, how can urbanly oriented people like us who haven't had to go through the struggle of tilling a field or milking some cows or getting wheat in a combine because nobody threshes wheat by hand anymore, how can we possibly understand the amount of hard work and dedication and America that goes into providing the food that this country so happily chows upon?
do you want to know how we can relate to that? We pay them.
Yep.
We give them money for food. And you know what? They give me money so that I can work on securing their freaking government.
Subsidies for corn and wheat and such.
No, I'm employed by the government to make their computer systems not shit.
Oh, there you go.
So
That's-
if they think that having more land makes them better, do you think they realize that America doesn't even break the top 70 of largest farms?
They
in the
have no idea.
world? Like
None.
there's cattle stations down here that are like the size of Texas.
No, they think they're huge.
No, not huge. Huge.
Huge. Yes, huge.
See, the weird thing is, there's a person I've been friends with since we were like literally about 5 or 6 years old, called Poling, and her brother's name is Huge. It's not long; it's just huge. He is a top chap, though.
Oh, that was gross. Anywho, where are we at in terms of duration? We are doing okay. We're about a half hour into. We're about 20 minutes into this. All right.
What's for dinner,
see.
Nelson?
Yeah, what you got?
Tonight's dinner. Welcome to Nelson's dinner segment. Tonight's dinner is a steak burrito with some homemade chips and some tres leches cake for dessert.
Nice.
See, I provided some
Yeah.
soothing bossa nova.
Yeah,
was good.
we needed a little like flute transition or something to Nelson's dinner segment. Welcome to Nelson's dinner segment.
Also, Scott Johnson pinging in from fucking God knows where, Pennsylvania.
Indeed. I send him an
he
invite?
has pointed out that Arby's employs more people than the coal industry.
Ha! Well, that's no surprise. I'm gonna ping him.
So
into
you know what this means? It's all a conspiracy by Big Pharma.
By Big Beef.
Where's the beef? That's a secret, citizen.
Did you see the?
Nobody
Did you see
mentioned
the
all-seeing eye
shot?
was a cow's eye.
Did you see the shot Wendy's fired off of McDonald's bow regarding beef?
Yes, that was wonderful.
What happened?
So McDonald's tweets out that as of 2018, all of their quarter pounders, all their quarter pounders in most of their locations will be using 100% fresh beef. So Wendy's shoots. Wait, so that means that doesn't that mean that most of your burgers at all of your locations don't?
Yeah.
On the line, we've got Skojo. Hey, Skojo.
Hi.
So you
Am I
know
coming in
what we're
okay?
talking- Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're
All
fine.
right, go.
The thing is, I still do really like a McDonald's hamburger every
Oh,
now
yeah.
and then.
They're
good.
It's really good.
What is wrong with you people?
Yeah, they're not. They're
See,
actually
They're never.
bad.
They
Here's
have
the
never
thing.
been good. Even as a little kid,
No,
Oh,
they're good.
They're good.
They're the fattiest ground beef you can, covered
Yeah.
in salt. It's
Oh, yeah.
having
delicious.
Having eaten at McDonald's on more continents than most people in this conversation, I can actually definitively say that American McDonald's it's okay. Like, it's decent enough,
Yeah,
but
they're
it's
not-
also not very good compared to
Oh, no,
McDonald's in other places.
No,
But
they're
you-
not.
the
They're
only-
not. We're not saying it's good.
Yeah.
We're saying
no,
that-
No,
we're
I'm
saying it's
No, I'm-
delicious.
Whoa,
we're not
whoa,
saying
whoa.
it's good.
The
No, I'm
only
saying it's not
reason-
even good compared to other McDonald's.
The only reason you ever go to a McDonald's is for breakfast. That's it. That's the only time you should
No,
ever
that's
go
true.
into a
No.
McDonald's.
no. That is admittedly breakfast is their best meal
It is
by far. But
Yeah,
brilliant.
brilliant move for them to go 24-hour breakfast. But for me, if I need to go and I don't have an opportunity like something to eat at home, I will drive through the McDonald's drive-through. I will pick up one sausage egg McMuffin and one of their little cheeseburgers.
What?
And it's amazing. Yeah.
I get my meal now is a McDouble, a small fry, and a small Coke.
I don't get
Man.
the sodas.
Jesus, there's
Have you
like
guys-
My meal is I go to a
Nah,
real,
the
real
Coke
burger
is the
place.
best at a McDonald's.
Yeah, but
Hey,
Nelson,
Daddy.
you don't ever have to drive anywhere.
That's true.
Have you
But
guys
also, you live in
ever-
California and In-N-Out exists.
In-N-Out, yeah, In-N-Out exists, but right along with the In-N-Out is the inevitable 20-car line. Ain't
So
nobody
then
got
they
get
should
time
out
for
of
make
that.
more
your
In-N-Outs.
fucking car. I know this is a foreign concept for someone from Los Angeles, but get out of your fucking car and walk in.
Yeah,
Dick,
I've
you
never-
can't walk into an In-N-Out.
Yeah, you can.
Yes, you can.
Not the
Climb
ones
through the
near
window.
me. Not the ones near me. You
Climb
can't
through
walk
the
in
little
there. They don't
window.
have a place to walk in.
That's weird.
Oh
Yeah.
shoot!
Weird.
What's the fast food in this area that's like that? What's it called? There's one of those. I guess In-N-Outs are like that. Oh shoot! What's it called?
Cheese
I can't
steaks are
remember.
us. I don't know.
I was thinking George would recall what fast food does that. They only
I'm
do.
sorry. What is
drive-thru.
it? Say that
Try-
again.
Sonics?
Sonics, yes.
Sonic. Yeah.
Sonic, that's right.
Oh,
and they're
man.
terrible. They're terrible
That's
as well.
not drive-through. That's a drive-in. That's even slower.
That's even slower.
Nah, man, you gotta get yourself the McOz. The McOz is beast.
What is the McOz?
The McOz is the usual beef patty, buns, all that.
Right.
Beetroot, tomato, lettuce, cheese, onions, a bit of mustard and ketchup on a toasted bun.
Beetroot?
Yeah, beetroot.
Yeah, you lost me at beetroot.
Well, that's because you're shit.
I'm
but we're
okay
just
with
like-
that.
Yeah, but I don't mind beetroot, but that's not an
You were
option
saying it's
here.
so weird.
I have a question for all of you.
What?
Why are you calling it beetroot? Is it different than just beets?
You guys say it's so weird.
Beets? Yeah, we call
No,
it
you
beets.
say it.
Because beets are a root.
They're the root, yeah.
Well, yeah, but we just call it beetroot.
Do you
You
then, do
guys
you
are
then
like-
call the leafy bits that pop out of the ground beets?
You
The
guys
whole-
say it.
Or do you call
do you
them?
call
or do you
it-
call them beet leaf?
Do you
No, you
call
call
them
the whole thing-
carrot root?
You guys are saying it like
Onion-
you're trying to
onion root?
construct- It's like you're trying to construct a German compound word in your head.
Because it is. Because it is. It's a very strange.
That's exactly what you're doing. It's a German compound word. Stop doing that.
Stop it, Cherba. Weird
Oh.
Australian.
But no, we call it beetroot. 'Cause
Speaking
fucking
of-
beetroot. You got a problem?
Aus-
Get out of here.
Speaking of Australian food, guess
Right.
what our lone Australian developer brought into the office today?
Vegemite?
Tim Tams.
Yes, she did. Tim Tams.
Did she teach you the Tim Tam Slam?
No, but a surprising, almost half of our developers already knew the Tim Tam Slam,
Oh.
and they quickly educated the rest of them.
You work in a good place.
It was very good.
My appreciation for New York Magazine is just clicked up another notch.
All we need is
Also,
to get
if you
some
ever need a
Chico
second
rolls in
Australian,
here.
I'm just saying, I'm available, reasonable rates.
Fuck is this?
A
I have
Chico
never
roll?
heard what you guys are talking about, but I'm looking it up right now.
Oh, Tim Tams are
Okay,
good.
a Tim Tam
Tim Tams,
Slam.
they're good.
a
Did you
Tim
find
Tam
the
is
WikiHow Tim Sam Slam thing?
Eat
It's
the
a
corn.
rectangular chocolate biscuit that's like 2 layers of biscuit with like kind of a chocolatey stuff in the middle. I'm not sure what you
Yeah.
call it, like a chocolatey cream.
Like marshmallow fluff?
no,
think that's-
it's cream with like an E on the end, like you have in some
Oh,
things. I don't know.
creme.
Creme. It's sort of like that, but it's semi-solid, and that the way it's laid on by the machine forms a little channel, and then it's coated in chocolate on the outside. So what you do is you bite off 2 opposing corners, sort of like you bite off where the Starbucks would be in Seattle, on diagonally opposite corners.
We call that
Then-
catty corner or kitty corner.
Ah, yes, that's what I was trying to think
Yeah.
of. Then you put
Kitty
one end
corner.
that you've bitten
Kitty
off
corner.
in your mouth, you put the other end in a hot beverage like tea or coffee, and then you slurp up that beverage, and right as you feel it start to collapse under your fingers, you stuff the collapsing biscuit in your mouth. And it is amazing.
It should be noted here that I think biscuit means what we would call a cookie.
I'm not sure you could really call this a cookie insofar as it's not very cookie-like.
Yeah, that's like calling a Fig
is-
Newton a cookie.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
definitely a biscuit.
I wouldn't call a Fig Newton a biscuit by any means, but
I think technically Fig Newton calls Fig Newton a biscuit.
I've been
His-
watching the Great British Bake Off, and I have now
Figus.
I cannot
Oh,
understand
yes.
their
Figus
fucking
Newton.
No,
words.
They call it apparently Fig Newton calls it a pastry. With
I mean, it is.
pastry filled
I
with
can
fig
understand pastry.
Oh,
Pastry I
yes.
can get on with, but
Here's a hot take. All biscuits
Oh,
are pastries.
I just
why does
remembered
the
you
another
use that
video
you use
article
that
for-
phrase a lot. What do you mean hot take? What does that even mean?
So to make a pastry, you have to bake it or heat it up.
No, he's take Nelson.
So hot take is a media term for a take, which is like, hey, let me give you my take on this thing. It's an opinion, usually
An off-the-cuff
unsolicited.
remark.
Yeah. And calling a take hot means that it is controversial or like
Or ironically controversial.
or ironically controversial, like
Uh.
all
like
hot dogs
like everything
are
Nelson
sandwiches.
calls a like
Yeah.
everything Nelson calls a hot take. Ironically
The way,
controversial.
The way I explain it is, it's like landing a plane when you're coming in hot. It's usually too fast and may crash horribly, causing horrific damage to you.
Okay.
That's very good.
Just a response to Nelson's example. Hot dogs are not sandwiches.
Yes, they
No, you see.
Oh my god, we've derailed into food really hardcore.
Oh,
You
it's
missed-
okay. You missed the pre-show discussion of, is the
Yeah.
Force made of ghosts?
Oh. That is, you know what? Some would call that a hot take, but I find that argument extremely compelling.
Yeah. And like, the
is-
light
it's
side
true.
is just all of these ghosts like just rolling around going, yeah, this guy's alright. And then the dark side is a bunch of different guys who are all dicks going, yeah, this guy's a prick, but I can appreciate that. That's my kind of style.
No, and you know what? There's a reason why the fewer Jedi and Sith there are, the more powerful they all seem to get.
Because there's a finite number of ghosts.
Exactly.
Oh, but they're always watching you.
And there's a lot
They're
more
always watching
And there's
nice
anyway.
nothing
ghosts
you can
than
do
there are
about it, so
asshole
you better
ghosts.
come to peace.
You're surrounded by ghosts anyway. What's the difference?
Wait, didn't Anakin wasn't Anakin, like, according to the episode 1, have like no father, like a apparently a virgin birth?
Yeah, he was Jesus Jedi.
He's a ghost baby.
He's half ghost. Well, he's all ghost now, but...
Hey.
Wait, so if he was half ghost before, and then he becomes a Force ghost, does that make him like 150% ghost?
I don't think it adds up like that. I think I think a person's level of ghostiness is a zero-sum game. All right, moving along. So the last topic here, it's no secret that private companies like Facebook and Google and
Are made of
China,
ghosts.
Weibo, are ghosts. We know they're ghosts. And they are increasingly trying to integrate themselves into every aspect of their lives. I think most recently Facebook announced their town hall feature thing, which tells you who your representatives in government are and gives you an easy way to contact them. we know why they do it. They want to make money off of us. And we accept it to an extent due to just how convenient everything is.
So convenient.
So it's so convenient. We coordinate the show over Facebook and, but is it a good thing to let these big companies sort of become a one-stop shop for everything? How far is too far in this integration into like a personal lives?
I think it's fine until you start getting algorithms that allow people to self-select for filter bubbles, and then that increasingly like self-perpetuates itself, and then you get these disparate tribes, and yeah, and then you get conflicting versions of reality, and then you can't run a country anymore. Yep. Yeah. That's about the line right there. That's
about the line.
We're past it, huh? We're doomed. Are we?
My
doomed?
line was the Internet of Shit things, where they it's like, oh, here, let's connect your thermostat to the internet. It's like, does this thermostat work correctly?
Well, I don't mean
never mind
internet
that
connectivity. I mean like one company becoming a monolith.
It is that, because think about a Nest. Think about the data a Nest has.
Right. Thinking about the Nest.
A Nest knows when you're home. Always.
Yes.
Think what Google and Facebook can do with information. Like, they know exactly when you're home.
They already know when I'm home.
Every day.
And the assassins.
That's when they can send the assassins.
George, they
Speaking
already
of
know
which-
when I'm home. I say, Google, hey, Google, remind me about X, Y, and Z when I get home. And sure enough, I pull into my garage and, hey,
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah.
Speaking of which, Zuck, can you please send better assassins? The last ones were shit. They
Yeah, I mean, I'm
barely
already-
lasted 5 minutes.
I already get on in my car, and it gives me the direct time it's going to take to get to work. It like knows that I'm going to have a banally boring day today and not go anywhere different.
Mm-hmm. So I suppose the conversation isn't what's too far. It's just how much do we not realize that we're already so far past the point of no return?
well, I think maybe
So-
if you believe the question that of how far is too far is that we've already passed it. I guess the question is now, how much further can we really let it go?
well, we can and probably will let it go all the way,
all the
What's
way.
all the way to you?
Ghost in the Shell?
or
Well, even in Ghost in the Shell, there was a
incredibly-
bunch of different companies.
Yeah, but like that's what it's going to be. It's going to be Facebook. It's going to be Google. Battling it out for.
Google's on 2017.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's going to be like the corporations in Ghost in the Shell.
Can I have dual-
Section
can I have
9,
dual
instead of
citizen-
Section 9, it's the fucking Google Wave team.
No, there's still going to be like a government just trying to like control the fucking straight up illegal shit that corporations are doing.
I'm going to have
Like
dual
that,
citizenship in Google and Facebook, okay? Is that okay? Is that legal?
No.
Well,
That's
unfortunately, we, the Twitter people, are at war with you.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Twitter can suck it.
So I took a Pew survey, like the Pew, the
Yeah, Pew research
established
firm. Yeah.
research
Yeah.
firm, and it was on cybersecurity. And I was
Oh,
like,
boy.
I'll spend a few minutes and take the survey. And I got 100% of the questions correct because it's my job. And it was like, oh, here's the distribution of the answers we get. You got better than 100% of respondents.
Oh my
I was
God.
like,
How do
ooh.
you do better than
These were-
100%?
No one else
Yeah.
got
Wait,
every
wait,
question
wait.
right.
Wait a
These
minute.
were easy questions too.
Wait. If you can't get over 100%, so you would be tied with or as good or better than 100% of the people.
Yeah, pretty
Yes.
much.
So doesn't mean that no one else got 100%. It just means that
Mhm.
no one could score higher than you, which is duh, right?
Yep.
So it's not really saying that you're that necessarily beating everybody else. So.
Yeah, but the mean like score was something around the low 30s.
Yeah, well,
Pretty
this is-
sad.
dude, most people that are going to respond to that are going to be like, wait, was it a phone interview?
Was it
Just
even
like a web interview.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
a
was-
web-based? Okay.
Were there
so you're-
any even remotely tricky questions?
No.
Did they ask you subnetting?
No, they asked like, what does, what's the difference between like, they were asking what's the difference between HTTP and HTTPS, but I think
Oh,
it was
boy.
phrased as like, what does the green thing mean?
What does the green
baby
thing-
questions?
Yeah,
Wait,
it
so
was
you could like, you could get it wrong because it's too simple?
What,
No, it was
what
very clear. Props on
what
the
does the
writers
green
for
thing mean?
making it very clear. But
It means you should have worn a rubber and it's going to fall off, George. That's what the green thing means.
yeah, so the massive proliferation of Internet of Things things, plus the fact that no one fucking knows security, means...
Well, the fact that no one knows security means I have a job, so...
Yeah. Well, it's funny. My light right there is connected. It's probably DDoSing someone right now.
Good work, Light.
Wait, your light is actually on the Wi-Fi? What?
Yeah.
Why?
Wi-Fi light. Because
Because he
lets
wants to be spied on by his light, clearly.
Well, it doesn't have a microphone. Well, I don't think it has a microphone. Hey, light.
You don't think it has a camera
You don't know if
either.
maybe they just put in a standard like dev kit kind of board in there. And it's got, microphone and all kinds of other sensors.
I think like one of my favorite InfoSec things to come out recently was people freaking out about fucking hell. Nelson, you don't have to turn on the red light.
Nelson!
I mean, look, I have some fancy color
This
lights
is
like
totally
that.
worth the NSA knowing everything I'm doing, and also China knowing everything I'm doing.
I have lights
Starting
like
a
that too, but
discotheque.
they're Bluetooth only. They're not
I got
Wi-Fi.
some LED
Anyway.
strips,
I think
and that's around my desk.
I think the best thing to come out of information security recently, partially because it bumps over into the area of expertise that I'm a bit more familiar with, which is the physical side of security, is where people were... it was WikiLeaks released a whole bunch of documents, at least I think it was WikiLeaks, about how the CIA spies on people and like their methods and hacks they were looking at and things like that. And one of the things was, they can use your smart TV to spy on you. Throw out all your smart TVs. Oh, they're spying. But what these people failed to pick up was that to actually make your TV do this, the CIA had to have physical access to your TV
Yeah.
to actually plug in and put the software on there.
Now that's
If
not
they
to say
have physical access to your TV, they can just plant a bug.
Now that is not to say that they could not in some way compromise the supply chain in for the TVs.
Well, that's
But
what China
come on.
does.
Yeah, that's what China already
That's
does.
what China does, and
you
they don't
have-
want to step on their turf.
The China's doing you a favor. They're getting rid of all the CIA bugs, so they can put
Putting in
their
all
own
the
on
Chinese
Yeah,
bugs.
now with 100% less CIA bugs, but maybe
But
some extra.
here's the thing,
features.
way
Truth, yeah.
back in the early days of spying and fieldcraft and the CIA, actively going out and bugging people because of the Cold War and shit.
Right.
People's televisions were actually a really good place to hide bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could put them in the TV, and the reaction from the TV would often set off bug sweeping devices.
Mm-hmm.
So
Also-
people would be wandering the room and shit like that, and just fucking, oh, the TV's going off. Oh, it's probably just because it's the TV.
Also,
It's
because
a
people,
TV. That's what it does.
people have been conditioned by the CIA to yell everything they're thinking at their TVs. There's a hot
someone
take.
at home right now yelling at their computer screen at us.
They were
Probably at me.
They were conventioned by television. This has actually happened to me, where I've watched so many television shows where characters monologue to them. Like, they don't monologue to themselves. They just say what they're thinking out loud. That I do this.
That is a cultural meme. Here's another hot take. That's a cultural meme that has been specifically planted into our culture by all the spy agencies to get people to
not
No,
just
it-
shitty
it's
writers
just-
being shitty
It's
writers.
just a storytelling device because there's no other way to get an internal monologue out.
Yeah, there is. Voiceovers.
I want to bring
Yeah,
back. I want to bring back.
reconsidered.
Personally, I want to bring back the Zack attack.
Hmm.
Go on.
That rings a bell.
Yeah, Saved by the
Very
Bell.
tiny bell.
Yeah.
Saved by the Bell. He goes.
It rings.
You know,
It
time
rings
out.
that bell.
He goes.
Oh, yeah.
Expositions.
All right.
Wait,
Yeah.
can you imagine like how disruptive that could be if people could actually Zack attack in real life?
No one else would notice.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, you might notice if he's like Zack attack and then fucks with your shit.
No, you can't
Like
do that
Zack
with a
attack,
Zack attack.
suddenly your wallet's gone.
No, that's the whole point. You can't do that. But it would be really telling because if there are some people that need time away from social interaction more than others, they will be getting older faster than other people.
That's true.
Hey, can I have some of your fries? No, Zack attack. Oh shit, half my fries are gone. Zack, you motherfucker. There was a
That's the
daring
thing,
bank
he-
robbery today. Suspect is probably going to be fucking Zack and his fucking attack. There is nothing you can do against someone who can arbitrarily stop time.
Yeah.
This is
That's-
a security concern.
Sure, but did you never watch Saved by the Bell?
No, actually.
Okay, then you don't know how Zack attacks
Yeah, I
work.
mean, all you're able to do is talk to the narrator.
Yeah, all you get.
The
Yeah, you
audience.
just get to talk
Yeah,
with
the
the
audience.
audience. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Still a national security issue. What if the narrator is Russia?
Mm.
Not.
True.
He is Zack attacking our secrets to Russia.
Just,
In Soviet Russia, Zack narrate you.
sure, but go back and watch Round the Twist, okay? Don't get involved in Saved by the Bell conversations.
Hey, well, let's face it. You can have your Zack attack. We'll have our kid who wins the fucking state school swimming meets with his helicopter penis. Because
Okay,
his penis
you're
is
gonna
possessed by a ghost.
Okay. Not now, but you're going to have to walk me through that later on, okay? Just
It all comes back to ghosts. Everything is ghosts.
Oh my.
Did you know there are more ghost jobs than jobs in the coal industry?
Do you know that there are more bin chickens than there are coal industries?
That's probably true. Bin chickens are the next stage of civilization. Once we're gone, it will just be bin chickens and rubbish.
An unending amount of rubbish to provide a permanent feeding source for the bin chicken. Provide them enough food for 15 minutes.
What an awful bird.
So a funny aside on the whole like issue of privacy and technology is that that bill that was voted on to allow to roll back
yes.
ISP privacy protections for consumers. I was trying to get my my Trumpster father to be concerned about this because hey, look at this. This was really great. We're continually winning. And like I couldn't get through to him because he was so hung up on the government collecting data and like that whole aspect that he couldn't like separate that from the like a commercial business collecting all of your data. And it was just kind of really interesting to see like
Well, what's the
how he
difference?
well, I mean, there's a lot of differences, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the government's not going to sell all your data all over the place to anybody, individuals or whatnot, right?
Well,
Right.
what
Hopefully.
does it matter?
There's
who
actually
It
buys
matters,
this?
George.
Well, like for example, like the government has certain rules, right? How they can deal with your data, right?
Right now.
Whereas we've
Ostensibly.
ostensibly, yes, at this point in time, but commercially, I mean, you eventually could get to. I mean, we're getting to the point where they just pretty much can use your data straight up and personally.
I mean, and you said your dad's reaction was was that
Predictable.
predictable. My dad's reaction to that and a bunch of the other things that the Trump administration have done that I think pretty much universally people can say is kind of a bad thing. I told him about that, and he turns around and says, because I went and I said to him, look, hey, it kind of seems to me you really supported the Republican, the Republican Party, the GOP this past election cycle. But it seems like even though you supported the party, their policies you seem to pretty regularly disagree with. He says, well, that's because I'm a libertarian. I'm like, what? Suddenly he became a libertarian, I guess.
So basically, that
He's
means
living in the
that
wrong
he's
place.
a Republican, but he likes weed.
No.
Maybe
Is your dad
because
on
he
the
did-
gear, Victor?
You know what? Maybe because he did vote for the legalization of weed in California. In California. He did
Okay,
vote for
Victor,
that.
here's what I need you to do.
What's
Hand
that?
your father a rolling paper, some tobacco, and a strip of cardboard, and see if he rolls it straight or if he rolls it into a cone shape. See if he's got any decorative vases that seem to have a long straight neck and then a very
Yeah,
small
no, he
stem
doesn't.
holder off the side.
Well, you're saying your dad's probably like a small L libertarian and not like a.
No, I'm saying that he was a full-on Republican until he started realizing that, oh, well, hold on a second, they're not doing nice things, and then, hey, cognitive dissonance kicked in, and suddenly libertarian.
Well, that's the thing. Big L libertarians are basically just Republicans who don't want to chain themselves to that rapidly failing brand anyway.
Yeah, I mean, my dad just kept talking about, well, we need to collect this data for terrorism, and I'm like, this isn't talking about government collection of data. This is talking about commercial data. And it's just like, well, we need it for terrorism collection. I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Like, we're collecting all this data anyway.
No, that's
But
the
the
problem.
government wasn't collecting the data.
Yeah. And I'm like, there's a difference between like aggregated data and like individual data.
Yep.
But that's just what concerns me when people are discussing these issues. Like, they have like no clue. Should we even be
It's
discussing
like,
it? I mean, we're
do
not
we
experts.
even need like this crazy government surveillance program? Why doesn't the government just buy the data from Facebook?
They can now.
Like they don't need to
Then
have
again,
these elaborate
so can
spying
so can the Cards Against Humanity people.
Yeah. It's true. They can make a personal deck of your search history.
Ooh. So is that beyond the line? Because that sounds like a pretty good. They could make some money off that.
Like, it's just like
Are we just pushing the line further
It's
and
like-
further?
they make a card game that's like all of your friends' search history together, and you
Like,
pretty much
Each
play
day
and
we
decide,
stray
like,
further from God's light.
Awkward.
I'd love if they just started making like the search histories of different professions deck. So it's
Oh,
like you know you're going through and it's like, oh yeah, like flipping through the fucking journalist search history deck, and it's like the weirdest shit ever.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
Uh,
work at a fertility toxicology place, so you can imagine what that looks like.
yeah, but I bet you've probably never Googled, are lizard furries still furries? Yes, no.
not at work.
Well, I've legit Googled that for work.
You know what I've googled at work?
I was actually trying to find out what I should refer to them as in an article, and I didn't actually have any available. P.S. Turns out the answer is scalies, but they still wear. But if they're wearing a suit, it is still a fursuit.
Ah.
Not a
Is
scale
it
suit.
is
Go
it
figure.
furry? Is it like textured, like a felt
Starting-
whatever
Starting to
they're.
get a bit beyond like my willingness to actually delve into these things. Also, like, where would you get a full body like snakeskin suit?
Well, you know who can
Don't-
answer
don't-
that? Google.
Google, thanks Google.
I'm not sure I want Google to think I care about that.
I'm beyond the point of caring, really.
Well, what were
You
your
know what
targeted
happened?
ads?
You know what happened? Kineticon, right? First time there, I give a lecture. I give one of my panels, and then afterwards, a guy comes up and starts explaining furries to me, and I'm like,
Actually,
okay.
I feel for the NSA guy who's going through my profile because it's like specific details about different bombs and things, and then it's like followed up by like questions about furries. It's just like, okay, either this guy's safe or we're about to have the weirdest fucking terrorist attack in US history.
Your search history wouldn't be that much different from Edward Snowden then, apparently, right?
Evidently.
Bomb at a furry convention. Americans baffled. I just don't know if we should feel
The
good or
fur
bad
was
about
definitely
this.
flying.
No, that's not even good enough for a headline, Fun Victor. Boo this man.
Boo.
Boo.
Oh, man. I just got reminded of that guy who's running for office in like Georgia or something like that, and they're trying to attack him in the primary for dressing up as Han Solo.
Oh, right.
You mean the best character in Star Wars?
Right?
Why was he dressed up as Han Solo?
She was at like a Halloween,
Halloween.
party or something.
I don't
You know
even
what
know.
the thing is?
Cosplaying.
You know what? That's actually gonna spectacularly backfire because there's gonna be a ton of nerds and geeks who didn't give two shits about this guy, and now they're like, my man.
Yeah, ooh.
I actually personally know someone running in the California congressional special election.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually had to recuse myself from coverage of that because, like, I personally know one of the candidates. So,
All right. Well, it was a good. It's a good show we had today. Thank
Powered
you.
by ghosts.
Thank you to Churba, Nelson, Skojo, George, and any ghosts in presence at the moment. And
They're here in spirit.
Force Ghost.
they're here in spirit.
That's how you do a pun, motherfucker.
Yeah. And we
that's
will
good.
hear you will hear from us next time on Acceptable Vices. May the Force be with you.